Ice-T might play a cop on TV, but in real life, he found himself in a bit of a tense back and forth with an officer during a traffic stop. A video from the encounter recently surfaced online, showing Ice standing his ground and not holding back when talking to the police. In the clip, the Law and Order SVU star gets pulled over because his car didn't have a front license plate. The conversation started out pretty chill, but things took a turn when the officer realized Ice's car registration was out of date and his license wasn't valid anymore either. Ice said he was actually headed to the DMV to sort everything out, but the officer wasn't too keen on letting it slide. Ice offered to park his car and walk to the DMV instead, but the cop wasn't open to the idea and made it clear he was going to issue a ticket. Frustrated, Ice got out of the car and asked for his paperwork back. He then pulled out his phone to record the officer, calling him a knucklehead. At one point, a higher-up officer arrived and managed to calm things down quite a bit. In the end, Ice got a few tickets for things like an expired license, registration, missing plates, and no inspection, but they let him park the car so he could still head over to the DMV to sort it all out. Ice-T first made a name for himself in the late 80s and early 90s as a rapper known for pushing boundaries and stirring up conversation. One of his most talked about tracks, Cop Killer, 1992, which he recorded with his metal band Body Count, tackled the issue of police brutality and caused quite a stir, even drawing criticism from then-President George H.W. Bush. Fast forward a few years, and Ice-T made the unexpected move of joining the cast of NBC's Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, taking on the role of Detective Odafin Fin Tutuola, a police officer no less. Ice-T, whose real name is Tracy Merrow, had a tough start in life. He was born in Summit, New Jersey, and sadly lost both of his parents at a young age due to health issues. After his dad passed, he moved to Los Angeles to live with his aunt. In high school, he lived in South Central LA, where he became familiar with the street culture around him. While he didn't get involved in gangs, he would sometimes come up with rhymes and slogans for others. To make some extra cash, he tried out different small jobs and side gigs. Over time, he started spending more time with people who were focused on more positive ways to make money, which ended up shaping the path he would take in the future. After finishing high school, Merrow joined the Army, where he was first introduced to hip-hop. When he heard rappers delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, he felt inspired to give rapping a shot too. Once his time in the Army was up, he moved back to Los Angeles and started DJing at parties and rapping while finding ways to make some extra cash on the side. Around this time, he began going by Ice-T, a name that came from his friends calling him T for Tracy, and his admiration for his favorite author, Iceberg Slim. Back in the early days, Ice-T dropped his first single, Cold Wind Madness, The Coldest Rap, through Saturn Records. It was a mix of older lyrics he had written and some new ones he came up with on the spot. Around that time, he started performing in clubs and even made an appearance in the breakdancing movie Breakin'. He was also featured on the movie's soundtrack with a track called Reckless. A little later, Ice-T began writing songs that tackled real-world issues like social challenges and unfairness with his track Killers. Then in 1986, he made waves in the rap scene with 6 in the Morning, a song inspired by everyday life on the streets. That was the moment when his journey as a major voice in rap really took off. In the late 80s, Ice-T signed with Sire Records, part of Warner Brothers, and dropped his debut album, Rhyme Pays, produced by Africa Islam. Critics loved how real his music felt. Village Voice even called his stories gripping and detailed, saying they really captured life on the streets. Later on, though, Ice-T explained that his songs were a mix of real experiences and creative storytelling, blending truth with imagination. Back in the late 80s, Ice-T started his own label called Rhyme Syndicate Records, and soon after was featured on a compilation album that brought together rappers from both the West and East Coasts. Not long after, he dropped his album, Power, which got some great feedback. Around the same time, he created the title track for Dennis Hopper's film Colors, which starred Sean Penn and Robert Duvall as officers navigating the challenges of LA's gang-heavy neighborhoods. The Iceberg, Freedom of Speech, Just Watch What You Say, released in 1989, was Ice-T's boldest album yet. With tracks like Shut Up, Be Happy, and You Played Yourself, featuring Jello Biafra of Dead Kennedys, it tackled censorship and blended rock with heavy metal. Around the same time, Ice-T featured on Quincy Jones's Grammy-winning track, Back on the Block, with Mel Mel, Big Daddy Kane, and Kool Moe Dee. In 1991, OG Original Gangster became his first album to crack the Billboard Top 20, and New Jack Hustler, the theme for New Jack City, earned him his first solo Grammy nomination. Body Count, a track on OG Original Gangster, introduced Ice-T's metal band Body Count. In 1992, they released the song Cop Killer from their album Body Count, which brought Ice-T major attention. The track followed the infamous Rodney King incident with the LAPD and boldly addresses the event, starting with a sharp dedication to the LAPD. Cop Killer sparked major backlash from President George H.W. Bush to police groups and the NRA over its intense lyrics about resisting authority. Ice-T drew FBI attention, and some major retailers pulled his album. That year, he appeared on Rolling Stone's cover dressed as a cop, pointing out the outrage over his song while real injustices were ignored. He clarified the song was about a character and said while he understood the anger, he had never acted on it. Warner Brothers Records initially backed his right to express himself, but things got tricky with the controversy and the planned artwork for his next album, Home Invasion. Eventually, they decided to part ways, and Ice-T moved over to Priority Records to release the album. Home Invasion ended up being a big success, reaching number 14 on the Billboard 200. His second Body Count album, Born Dead, came out in 1994, followed by his solo rap album, 6, Return of the Real in 1996, and Body Count's Violent Demise, Last Days in 1997. Other notable releases include the rap album Seventh Deadly Sin, 1999, and Gangsta Rap, 2006, his final solo project, as well as Body Count's Bloodlust, 2017, featuring No Lives Matter and the Grammy-nominated Black Hoodie. In 2021, their song Bum Rush from Carnivore, 2020, won a Grammy for Best Metal Performance. In a 2023 Variety interview, Ice-T explained why he stopped releasing solo albums. Hip-hop changed and the vibe wasn't the same for me. The music felt different and the style shifted in a way that didn't click with me. I sold a ton of records, but then things slowed down. Not just for me. Artists like Public Enemy, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and Wu-Tang Clan weren't selling as much either. The scene changed, and the new generation had a different energy I couldn't connect with. That same year, he dropped The Legend of Ice-T Crime Stories, a compilation album featuring 5 unreleased tracks. Ice-T kept busy with acting, showing up in movies like Ricochet, Surviving the Game, Johnny Mnemonic, and Tank Girl in the 90s. He also popped up in guest spots on popular TV shows like New York Undercover, and even voiced a character on Batman Beyond. Later on, he gave reality TV a shot with Ice-T's Rap School, which aired for a season on VH1 back in 2006. Ice-T is best known for playing Sergeant Tutuola on Law & Order, SVU. In 2023, he reflected on the irony of being cast as a cop, given his song Cop Killer. He told Variety, "If I had to be a cop in real life, it would be in a unit like that, going after the worst offenders. It's pretty clear who the bad guys are." Outside of acting, Ice-T has also worked behind the scenes, producing the reality show, The Peacemaker, LA Gang Wars. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your opinions, ideas, or feedback in the comments below. We value your input and want to keep the conversation going. Don't forget to check out the next video for more exciting content and insights.